Yo, you tuned in to Guerilla Cross Radio.
Yo, what's up, and welcome to another episode of Guerilla Cross Speak Life Radio right here on GuerillaCross.com, SpeakLifeRadio.com, and the Guerilla Cross app. Download that app free on iTunes and Google Play. It's free. Don't pass up free stuff. I'm your host, Kwon Five-Nine, and we got a big show for you today. I got my man Armond WakeUp. He's going to be live on the line. We're going to be talking about his new album, Even If I Lose. Really dope album. We got some new music from Flame, Sean C. Johnson. We're going to play one from Dre Murray and Jay Rodan. Dope music today. And we're going to be playing a few of the tracks from Even If I Lose with Armond. So we're going to be live on the line with him in about 15 minutes right here on Speak Life Radio. If you have any requests, if you just want to say what's up, hit us up, 702-608-3259. Once again, that phone number is 702-608-3259. We're going to be here with you for the next hour. So, hit us up. Follow us at Guerilla Cross on all social media. Follow me at Kwon Five-Nine on all social media. That's KWONFIVENINE to spell out 5-9. And you'll be able to reach me and contact me anywhere there on social media. So appreciate you guys tuning in every week. If you're watching on Facebook Live, please share the Facebook Live feed with your people. And we're going to have a good show for you today. Once again, I'm going to jump into this brand new track from Flame. Album just dropped today. And I haven't listened to all of it, but I listened to a lot of it. And it sounds pretty good. It's called God Knows. And you can get that anywhere that you get music. So this is Swimming with Sharks right here, Flame. Guerilla Cross, Speak Life Radio, New Music Friday.
I've been lied on, blackballed, never said a thing. Wait, let me set the scene. It's been over 10 years now, swimming in the water with great white, tiger-like, hammerhead sharks. I've been overlooked, underpaid, never said a thing. Seen brother kill brother like Abel and Cain. Everything ain't what it seems when you see behind the scenes. It's a pretty scary thing when you see who pulling strings. I done seen them shark teeth looking deep in a shark's eyes. All I can do is pray. I was praying a shark's eyes. I just wanna rap for God, wanna see some people saved, but I am so afraid if my publishing is saved. Seen royalty papers that break up loyalty statements. Since I started in the basement, I've been royally shaded. I got a call, dude, threatened to blackball. You know who you are, cause I said I wouldn't sign with y'all. Why you wanna see the flame fall? Is that what you in the game for? Some people doubt it's the game mode. You should really be ashamed. You can be a pain, need to be tamed. Dang, bro. Take my kindness as weakness. Up execs had to tweak this. Rap less about Jesus. It's overwhelmingly egregious. When you see all the greediness, capitalism at its finest. You can break the glass ceiling, be a slave and just sign it. Swimming in this industry ain't just with the fishes. You swimming with the bloodthirsty, fame-seeking vicious. Cold-hearted, selfish-minded, sneaky opportunists who would call another venue and then tell them they be foolish. If they book you cause they artists, bring a better show. If you coming in this ocean, even if you got a boat, there's some people that's aboard that's ready to overthrow. If you don't know how to swim, then at least you better float. Cause these sharks smell weakness, they'll eat you alive. I know that you was thinking, ain't we doing this for God? Well, surprise, certain guys coming for your neck. Bring something to the table, they'll steal your connect. Take credit for it, discredit you, and benefit from your plug. It's messed up, it's levels to this disrespect. When predators see a threat, they be going all out. And you see them jaws out, better know that jaws out. Woo. What I've been through, only God knows. All them long nights, only God knows. Will I be alright? Only God knows. Got me questioning the life, yeah, that I chose. What I've been through, only God knows. For the long nights, only God knows. Will I be alright? Only God knows. I'm just trying to stay afloat. Yeah. So much slander, so much stealing while you're swimming. Guard your heart, make you never compromise. Fall apart and become a shark. Every time when they plot my demise and they scheme, then I cry. Most high and my God intervenes with a ram in a bush, and he fights all my battles. And they bribe and they push with all they might, but it don't matter, cause he guides, shields, rescues, saves. You just stay faithful, pray, you'll get your reward. Don't you is Christ. Keep telling the world that our Jesus ain't we protected and it's all gonna pass away. Just keep it pushing like
swimming, just swimming, just keep swimming, just swimming, swimming, just swimming, just swimming, just keep swimming, just swimming.
Yeah, that's a brand new one from Flame, Swimming with Sharks, right here. Guerilla Cross, Speak Life Radio. That album, God Knows, is out now. So make sure you go get that everywhere. This is Sean C. Johnson, brand new one, Daydreaming, featuring the Junk Band right here. Guerilla Cross, Speak Life Radio, New Music Friday.
Crazy, I still believe in love. Hoping it finds me lately. It's all I've been thinking of. This ain't a movie, baby. Life ain't a fairy tale, no. Too many ifs and maybes. You think mine's enough to know it's a cold reality. Yeah, when your life don't match your dreams, oh yeah, and your hope may fade with time, oh yeah, when your love is hard to find. I prayed for a wife when I was 16. I can still see her face in my dream. Still believe in love, and if that makes me a fool, then don't wake me up. Don't wake me, don't wake me up. Let me keep dreaming. Don't wake me up, don't wake me. Let me keep dreaming. Don't wake me up, don't wake me. Let me keep dreaming. Don't wake me up till I find true love. Don't wake me up. Let me keep dreaming. Don't wake me up, don't wake me up. Oh, yeah. You should let me. Let me be the one to give you everything you want and need. You should let me love.
Yeah, Sean got a video for that, so you might want to check that out. Also, we're going to have that video up on GorillaCross.com. So make sure you check it out. We're going to be on the line with Armond WakeUp coming up in a minute. So stay with us. Stay locked in. This is Sade K with Ready right here. Guerilla Cross, Speak Life Radio.
Been at it 724. People think they know, but they don't even have a clue. What I gotta do to try to keep my cool while learning to trust in you. On the outside looking in, watching everybody win. Running out of patience, how much more I gotta spend. Oh Lord, keep me on track. I don't wanna be held back. I wanna walk with you. 'Cause I know you created me for more. And I know you have great things in store for me. Pressing towards these visions right in front of me. Waiting for these dreams to be reality. Lord knows that I'm ready. Sitting at this desk, working this 9 to 5. Doing what I gotta so I can survive. Lord knows that I'm ready. Sometimes I trip, I fall and forget. But one thing that I know is that your word is tried and true. So I'ma follow through and do what I gotta do. I'm locked in on you. So tell me where and I'll go. I surrender all.
Yeah, that's a brand new track. Ready. Really dope track. Seda K. I don't know if I'm saying the name right, but that's how it looks. But anyways, this is Stay Calm from Dre Murray and Jay Rodan right here on Guerilla Cross Speak Live Radio. We're going to be live on the line with Armond Wake Up right after this track. Stay locked in, Guerilla Cross Radio.
And I'm still climbing this mountain. Them years flying by, I'm searching for the fountain. To reverse the mileage like Ferris Bueller. Until then, there's plenty fish for my medulla. I'm trying to go undefeated like I was Don Shula. Not the best lyricist, I don't have the acclaim, but tell a story with pain like I was Rick the Ruler. Shoot, I probably lost the kids with that last line, but that's fine, this is America's pastime. Promised myself I wouldn't rush it like the last time. Just let these balls marinate over the cast iron. Over Jay Rodan, I'm in the booth floating. My son giving high fives cause it's so potent. Yeah, the legacy will be televised. 1322 right before your eyes. Yeah. Man, yeah. Son, it's crazy out here, man. Still hard to discuss, save it for another day. It's crazy. It's smoke and mirrors, son. A lot of ups, it's downs, all around. It's games, yeah. They playing games, man. I'm seeing heroes broke with all zeros. Dropping heat, but label keeping De Niro. Good fellas, but the score is never clear though. The family, but the love is never near though. So you analyze this and you analyze that. Spit fire on next track, the start of a grudge match. These mean streets, they warned you, but you scream you untouchable. Nobody could harm you, what a shame. You heard the shark's tail in bits, so you to blame. And I can't nitpick, I probably would do the same. And turn and tell my son, I'm sorry, but I'm a lame. I know that it's still in my joy, but that's the game. This boy's life would be harder because of rap. No silver line in the playbook has been scrapped. Seeing me poly with frauds, giving me death. Oh man. Man, what I look like? I ran this far, you know how long it took, right? I couldn't travel this road if I was shook, right? To me, this life is like one long verse, but you need a balance. Gotta get that hook right. So Houston, I am going in, no problem. God's sovereign. I know that He had me from the bottom. I am on this mission, never quitting. Stones flooded as I'm spitting, son. Listen to this knowledge, I'm alive. Pay attention.
Yeah, that's Dre Murray, Jay Rodan with Stay Calm right here, Guerilla Cross Speak Live Radio, New Music Friday. Loving that track right there. Go get that everywhere. All these songs are everywhere. So everything we play, you can find it on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you listen to music. And I asked a question today, where do you listen to your music the most? Is it Apple Music, Google Play, Tidal, Spotify, Pandora? So I'm trying to get your opinions on that, because I see a lot of artists promote that their new album's coming out, and I see them only put up a couple of the platforms. So I'm trying to see where everyone listens to music the most. So yeah, let me know. Let me know what's up. All right, we're about to get live on the line with my man Armond Wake Up in about 2 minutes, I think. So actually, we're gonna try right now. He just dropped a brand new album called Even If I Lose, a really dope album. If you guys haven't heard it yet, it dropped on Tuesday, so you're going to want to definitely check that out. And we're going to be live on the line with Armond right now. I think. If not, I'm going to just keep playing music. Yo. Yo, can you hear me, bro?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Dope. What's up, man?
On?
We're live on the line with Armond Wake Up right now on Speak Live Radio. What's good, bro?
What up, man? What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, bro. You know, just sitting here watching WWE.
Word on a Friday? What's on Friday?
Man, I got the app.
Okay.
I got the app, so I had to watch Elimination Chamber late.
Okay, bet. I was like, Friday? Okay, but bet, yeah.
Yeah, because all my boys went, and they didn't invite me. We were talking about that on the sports show yesterday. They didn't invite me, but they all went. So I was feeling a certain way. You feel me?
That's trash. Yeah, they're going to be in Columbus next weekend, and I'm not going, so I can totally relate, bro.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. But you're a diehard, man. I'm just now getting back into it. Like, I got the app to watch some of the old stuff, and I've been watching, like, all the new stuff now, too. I'm like, dang, man, I got sucked back in it. It's easy to get sucked back into wrestling, though.
Yes, it is. It's, I always tell people, like, the same way that a lot of people feel about, like, superheroes and comic books.
Yeah.
Like, you're seeing a resurgence with that. It's the same thing with wrestling. Like, I was never a Marvel DC guy. I was WWF, WCW.
Yeah.
So the same way that you feel about Batman and Superman and Iron Man, I feel about Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, Sting. Like, those were my heroes as a kid. So, as an adult, it's the same thing, the exact same thing.
Have you ever taken a hiatus from wrestling?
Yes. When I was in Japan and cable TV was like 2 weeks behind, I took a little hiatus. I would watch the pay-per-views because being in the military, we got the pay-per-views for free. But like for the most part, other than that, I've been consistently watching since I was 89, 90, something like that. I was about 4 or 5 years old.
Wow, man.
Yeah, man. Dedication.
That's crazy. And it's dope, man, that app and having the network now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get to watch all the old stuff, not just WWE, but AWA, WCW. Like, it's dope, man. It brings back a lot of childhood memories.
Yep. It's phenomenal. I gotta put you on to the Japanese stuff, man. I gotta put you on to New Japan. New Japan is phenomenal.
And I've heard about some of it. I've heard about some of that. So, I definitely have to check that out.
I'll shoot you some stuff for sure.
So are you the type to watch, like, every time it comes on live, you're, like, right in front of the TV with the...
No. That's impossible, man. Like, I got so many things going on right now, just between work and school and relationships and church and music and family. I have too much going on. I can't do it every week, but I try to do it as much as I can. And if I miss it, I got the app. I got the network.
Definitely,
so I'm good.
Definitely. Man, so let's talk about it, bro. Let's jump into Even If I Lose. My carpets are clean now, so we could actually do this.
Did you tell that story already?
I haven't told that story. I'm going to let you tell that story.
I mean, like 40 Days came out December 8th, and, in Kwon fashion, because this is like my 4th or 5th time, on Guerilla Cross. He was like, hey, your project just came out. We got to get you on. Absolutely no problem. And just over the course of the day, you just kept hitting me like, hey, man, they were supposed to clean my carpet I don't know if it was earlier in the day. They just now getting to it. And it just pushed the whole day back. Everything was crazy. I ended up not getting on the show for that project, but I knew I had this in the tuck, so I wasn't tripping too hard because I knew I'd be back on, within a month or so.
Yep. And I'm kind of glad we waited anyways because I want to talk about this album and we can still, even get into 40 Days. And I want to just ask you right now, like, how come you dropped 2 projects so close together with 40 Days dropping in December and now Even If I Lose dropping at the end of February?
Well, do you want the fake deep Jesus answer or do you want the artist rapper answer?
I want the artist rapper answer.
Okay. I didn't put out any music in 2017. I put out a couple of freestyles, and that was it. Yeah. So I've been sitting on this music for a long time. And for me, I work very quickly. So if you're familiar with my discography, I've got a project called 27 that I wrote, recorded, and got mixed in 3 days.
Yeah.
So I like writing and creating music isn't difficult for me. And I don't say that braggadocious. It's just like a reality. So when you're sitting on music for as long as I was sitting on this project, I'm already 9 songs into another project.
Yeah.
And I'm not the person to put together 30 songs and pick the best 10 or best 12. I know I do track lists first. I write the track list out and then I create for that track list and then I move on. So these 9 songs that I'm already doing are stuff that I've already done because 40 Days and Even If I Lose, I've been sitting on that music for most of 2017. So I got with the label and I was like, let's just put it out now. Let's start off the year with a bang. And let's just go from there.
And that's interesting how you said you have the track list first and then you write the tracks to the track list. Is that what you mean?
Yep. I'm not the guy. Sometimes I get the beats sometimes, but if you listen to any of my projects, they are all thematic. So because I'm a writer, I like each track is like a chapter in a book.
Yeah.
And I'm somebody who like I can't write a song and then if I say this on one song and I say it again on another record, like I don't want to be redundant.
Yeah.
I'm cool with saying things on different projects because a lot of the themes from Even If I Lose are taken from lines and concepts that I've had on previous projects that are 3, 4, 5 years old.
Okay.
But I don't want to be the guy to write something. I don't want to be redundant in my music. So I know when I'm writing, I know exactly where the person is listening to the album, where I want to take them and where they ultimately will end up.
Wow. And I like the fact you did drop 2 albums, but they sound, or 2 projects, an EP and an album, but they sound different. And that's what I like about the 2. Like they both have a flavor. So if you hear a song, if you're familiar with Armond's music and you hear a song from the EP and then you hear a song from the album, you'll be able to differentiate between the 2. You're going to know this is from the EP and this is from the album. And I like how you did that. And I heard that you were going to do it like that. I think Jonathan Baker said that the album sounds totally different than the EP. And then you had told me that too. And so I wanted to hear it for myself. And sure enough, when I did listen to Even If I Lose, it was a totally different vibe, totally different feel from 40 Days.
Yep. And I wanted to make sure, because I knew I was going to be doing some different things on this album. I've got a couple of tracks that I think that my fan base would consider to be unconventional. I Am the One, Jesus. I wanted to give people something a little more traditional.
Yeah.
And I think 40 Days, I think people know me for my introspection, my transparency. So I wanted to hit them with that because Even If I Lose, it's just different conceptually and content-wise and sonically as well. So I wanted to, I wanted to make sure that I, put the pill in the drink or whatever, in the orange juice or whatever. So.
And my favorite track, I think, right now on Even If I Lose, it's the one I tend to keep going back to, is God.
Okay.
Deep track, and it's kind of transparent for all of us as Christians.
Yes.
You're pretty much naming everything that could be God's, and you're breaking that down on how, and this is something I think me and Dre even talked about this 2 weeks ago with Jay Rodan. We make brands our gods, and that's one of the biggest things I've noticed since social media started, going back in MySpace days, is everyone had to start branding themselves, and everybody is turned into a brand. Even if they're not doing anything, you have to create something that you're doing. Like, I drink water, so I'm going to be a water brand. So my brand is going to be me drinking water on Facebook Live every day and doing something. Dig into that song for us, man. Talk about that and just getting that idea and being able to execute that in the way you did.
I think with that record, I think that there wasn't enough of a standard in the arts. And I think that you're seeing a lot of people disown Christian hip hop, disown the church. And my belief is, like what Christian hip hop was up until this point, sure, I can agree that maybe it's not as effective as it should be and as it could be.
Yeah.
Same with the church.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do? Are we going to abandon it to like go somewhere else, or who's going to stay and clean up the mess and essentially destroy and rebuild? And I think with that, you have to confront everything that essentially destroyed it, because branding and all of that stuff, while it's good and it's effective, because I'm part of a church plant, so I understand the business of church.
Yeah.
So you're never going to hear me say that money isn't necessary, and that, because the Bible doesn't say money. The Bible says money answers all things. So why would I get up here and say money doesn't matter? It totally does. But, with that record, I wanted to confront everything that I've seen that pretty much have destroyed ministries, and then on the flip side have also kept people away from Jesus.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to like the frailty of our own hearts. Like, we're just trash.
Yeah.
And we don't want to admit that, or when we do admit that, we want our trash to be our God. Like, transparency becomes, well, I suck, and it just stops there. Well, no, and that's why I said that on 723. Like, I was rapping about my insecurities when it wasn't cool.
Yeah.
And now everybody's doing it, but nobody is giving people hope within their despair. It's just I'm in despair. So yeah. So
we talked about that, how depression rap has become a popular thing, and I know people making that aren't even really that depressed in real life, and it's Christians doing that, you know. And I don't get it. And there's no answer at the end of that song or that album to lead people out of that depression. It's like, bro, you're not even depressed, and you're making other people depressed and thinking that it's cool to be able to live that way. And I've seen a lot of people. I've seen that in the last 3 years, where now people are jumping on that trend, and it's like, bro, you're not leading them to Jesus at all. Yeah. You're leading them to more depression, and pills are cool now, even for Christians. Like we have to deal with. You know, we could smoke weed. It's illegal in Nevada now. So dealing with that out here now is a new beast, you know, because now it's legal. Yeah. So now as Christians, what are you going to say is illegal now? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we're pushing that.
And I have conversations with plenty of believers, and I can't even speak to that. Like, I don't even know. Like, weed was never my thing, so I don't even know how to even address that. But you made a really good point about like what rappers do with transparency, or just particularly Christian rappers do with transparency. The problem is, this is something that I talked to Dre about. You know, Dre and I have families. So, you know, and not just like new families. Like, a lot of my friends, their kids are 2, 3, 4. You know, I had a daughter when I was 19. My daughter's going to be 13 this year. My son will be 9 in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
And so, like, you know, I've seen a lot. I've been all over the world. Like, my life is absolutely nuts. And in that, God has shaped my identity and, like, my security. So, you know, I understand. This is why I always tell people, like, yo, your 30s are amazing. Like, your 30s are so dope, because you finally get to, like, you come to who you are, but you're still young enough to pursue your passions and all that other stuff. And I think the problem with not the problem, but the thing about Christian hip hop is that a lot of these artists are kids.
Yeah.
And they're just now experiencing, because when I was in my 20s, sure, like,
definitely,
you know, I was following Jay-Z and Joe Budden, and I was following all these guys, and I was, like, manipulating and formulating my style to theirs. Yeah, because I was 20, 21, 22. I was just out on my own for the first time. Absolutely. But a lot of these kids, and the way that I was looking at Jay, now they look at Kanye like that. Now they look at Chance like that. Now they look at Cole like that. And they end up formulating not only just their persona and their lifestyle to that, they formulate their rap style. And so if depressing rap is in style, which it is, then that's what they're going to do. Yeah. And then if you don't have a real encounter with Jesus, and you don't see the depression rap as a problem, if you just see them as a means to an end, because we look at Lecrae and we look at all the A-list rappers in Social Club, and these guys are touring. And again, these are things that I addressed in God, like things that we define as success. I'm not going to sit up here and say that what they're doing is not ministry, because it is, but it's not the only form of it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So when you come to yourself and you realize, this is who I am, and this is really a revelation that I've got while creating this album. It's like, I may not ever get that, and that's okay, because what I'm doing, like, nobody else can do.
Yeah.
And I can essentially form, you know, people talk about running their own lanes, but leadership is lonely. Like, doing it first is trash. But if you're doing it for God, you still have a blueprint, and you still have the ability to, like, essentially just rock out and do it the right way. You know what I'm saying?
And another thing a lot of the young artists don't realize when they're looking at Lecrae and someone like Social Club is they had leadership to get to where they're at. They didn't just jump out one day and be like, I'm going to do this, and I'm doing it on my own and all that. They had leadership backing them up within the church, within Christian hip hop, to get them to where they're at. So now they can go out there kind of on their own and be successful and still do ministry behind the scenes and still do stuff without without them being, you know, taken under with the music, because they actually had leadership going into it. And that's what a lot of young people don't want these days, is that leadership. They don't want the quote unquote old heads telling them what to do because we haven't gone through anything, have we? You know?
Exactly. Here's one thing that I learned just recently, like within the last few weeks. I was talking to my pastor, and so we were talking about, like I said, we're a church plant, and we just celebrated 9 years of ministry. We've got about 70 members in our church. And so we look at other churches who started around the same time that we did or started sooner. They're only 3 or 4 years old, and they grew rapidly, and they grew to hundreds and thousands of members, and we only have 70. So if we're looking at ministry in terms of numbers, then it might look like we're not necessarily we're not producing at the same rate as our counterparts or whatever. But like you said, many churches, they have leadership, they have financial backing, they have different resources and people who are willing to pour into what they have, so that essentially becomes a head start. Yeah. So they were able to grow their church really fast, but they had a marketing budget.
Exactly.
So of course they're going to do that. Versus maybe my church that just started with 2 pastors, a word from God, and a basement. And we grew from the basement to 70 people. And so are we going to look at from nothing to 70 and say that that's not enough? But when we literally had to crawl and scrape for everything that we got versus, and I'll parallel this with hip hop so maybe people can understand, somebody getting a cosign. Somebody coming out and saying, Chance coming out and Kanye saying, hey, Chance is the new guy, and then everybody going to Chance. And just because of that cosign or that label that you signed to, the affiliation you have, you're automatically on versus somebody like me. I don't really have those cosigns. I don't get those cosigns publicly. But for me to grow what I've had from nothing coming into Christ and like essentially quitting music because I didn't think God wanted me to rap the way that I was rapping. I mean, he didn't. But to go from that to this and grow it to where it is now is unreal. It's amazing. And it's still a testament to like his power. So again, like you have to change the measuring stick for how you measure success. Success for one person and success for another person. The only commonality is that it's in Christ. How it manifests itself could be totally different.
And you have to measure it to what God has for you is success, because God has a level of success that is totally different for every individual.
Absolutely.
And we look at the success and say we're not successful with doing what we're doing in our ministries and in our churches and our businesses because we don't have a certain number. We might look at a number and social media followings too. We get so deceived by social media followings, and it discourages a lot of people. I hear it all the time. Like, man, I'm just, people aren't following me like that. I'm trying to be on the level of a Lecrae or Social Club or, whoever, or even Armond, and we just don't have the same following as them, But that's deceptive. It's like you have to follow what God told you to do and be successful, and God's going to have you successful. If you're rapping in front of 30 people forever, he might need that. He might need that for you to be successful. That might be success, to him for your life. Just because somebody might be rapping in front of 20,000 people every night doesn't mean they're more successful than what God's plan was for you.
Absolutely. I always tell people there's a story from like when I was in Japan, and my last show before I moved from Japan, we performed for 2,000 people. And it was a total ego stroke. Anytime I look at those pictures, it just looks like, us just like an ego stroke.
You made it.
And so, like we made it. We filled out a 2,000-seat venue. And so my first show after I got stationed in Okinawa, my next duty station was Spokane, Washington. So this is where Gonzaga is. This is where Rachel Dolezal went to, taught at or whatever. Like I used to be on that campus wilding out. And so there's a bunch of Rachel Dolezals in Spokane, Washington. That's why I wasn't surprised when that came out. And so the first show that I got booked on, 10 people were there, and 8 of them were other artists on the bill.
Humble.
So one of the guys that was there was like, he was a teenager at the time, And it just so happened the promoter had been witnessing to him, trying to get him to the Lord or whatever. So he came to the church. He heard my CD. We exchanged numbers. I gave him my mixtape. So then like 6 months later, a year later, however long later, he calls me and he's like, yo, man, I was listening to your mixtape in the car. I was outside of a party. Me and my friend were smoking weed. We were high. We heard your mixtape. And then all of a sudden the Holy Spirit like shook the high out of us.
Wow.
We were sober, and I immediately gave my life to the Lord in that car. Great. Praise God. To this day, he's a teen pastor who leads revivals up and down the Northwest.
Wow.
So again, what are we measuring? Are we measuring the crowd? Because the 2,000 people,
Yep.
of course, we could say that's success. Or the show that had 10 people there, one guy gets saved, he ends up doing revivals all up and down a region of the country, and who knows how many people he's led to the Lord. It could be
Off
more
of
than
that one
2,000.
instance, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I tell people that all the time, like, you have no idea who you're impacting. That one person could impact millions. So people have been so discouraged with prophecies too. Somebody will be prophesied like you're going to reach thousands, and thousands are going to get saved from the work you do, whatever. And they think that they need to be in direct contact with those thousands of people, not realizing, like you said, you could touch one person and they could touch the thousands and the millions, and that was a seed from what God gave you to do. And that's awesome to hear that, man. And awesome also to hear the fact that through hip-hop, somebody gave their life to Christ. Bro,
it works.
I picked up a pastor last week doing Uber and Lyft. I'm out there all the time. Listening to the Guerilla Cross app. I always have everyone's music playing. He gets in a car, and I pick him up from a church. I don't think he thought I knew it was a church. He says, oh, brother, I don't listen to this kind of music anymore. And I'm like, oh, what kind is that? He's like, this hip-hop crap. And I'm like, this is Christian hip-hop. And he starts laughing because he's like, oh, he must know it's a church. And he's like, ha, ha, ha. And he's looking at me. I'm like, no, really, it's Christian hip-hop. I run a Christian hip-hop station out here. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, I still don't feel like hip-hop has any place in the church.
Here we go.
Bro, he just kept going on and on about this. And, the ride's done, and he's still going on and on about it. And I'm like, bro, I've seen a lot of people's lives change because of hip-hop. The same people I've invited to church that wouldn't hear a word of what the pastor was saying, listen to hip-hop, listen to an album from Lecrae or Seven or Bizzle, and was like, yo, like, this is real. This is legit. It's hitting me where I need to hear it. So to hear that a week later from a hip hop artist that's doing it for God, that made an impact on somebody, is huge, because I think more people need to know that, and pastors out there need to quit shutting the door on other avenues of people getting saved, because we live in 2018. People need to hear the gospel in their language.
Yep.
And so that's really big, man.
You always got to think about what was happening in generations before us. So, at the time, Kirk Franklin was doing something brand new, and people thought that was blasphemous. And now Kirk Franklin is like the standard. Or even before then with, Andre Crouch and Walter Hawkins and all these other gospel artists that R&B, secular R&B was taking from, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like songs that we don't even realize are originally gospel records. Yeah. Are records that started in the church, blew up, and then somebody who sang in the church or just caught wind of it, because it's always been popular. You see like Kim Burrell singing for Mariana, whatever. A lot of these vocalists, like, they know.
Yeah.
They know. So they're up on it. They'll take it and then they'll manipulate it, and that's always existed.
Yeah.
Like, if we believe that the Bible says nothing new is under the sun, then you should know that, like, what we're experiencing now is nothing new. So the same way that hip-hop leads people to the Lord, in 20 years, there will be something totally different and new that we'll think is trash, but the kids will love it, and we'll see fruit from it, and we'll see souls get saved, and people get restored and delivered. Like, people just got to, like you said, like, man, take that. Yeah. And take that blinder off of that blockage off. Yo.
And it's funny because the pastor said the same thing. Like, I don't think that we should be using the world's music to reach people and just imitating what they do. And I told him the same thing. I'm like, a lot of the world's music came from the church. They imitate what the church is doing. And then I asked him if they have drums in their church. He said, yeah. And I didn't say anything. I just said, okay, cool. Because 30 years ago, that was the devil's instrument. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't even have drums in the church not too long ago. But yeah, I mean, people need to be more open and realize that God's going to use a lot of people in different ways. There's people in jail locked up for murder that are probably reaching a lot of people for Christ right now.
100%.
You know?
Do a prison ministry, and you will see all types of the craziest that are seen that produce fruit.
Yeah, real talk. So going back to Even If I Lose, the album, what do you want people to get out of this album more than anything? What's your main goal with Even If I Lose?
Man, Jesus is Lord.
Good stuff.
This is an overtly worshipy gospel album that I've ever created.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with my previous music, it's always had a lot of Armond in it, and it's had my perspective of a situation and what God is doing within that situation, and that's great and fine and that's necessary. But where I'm at in my life right now, I don't want to talk about my situation.
Yeah.
I want to talk about God. I want to talk about how dope He is, and talk about what He's done to me and through me, and what He's continuing to do, and how just like my faith in Him is growing. And I'm not perfect, but like, you know, I started seeing like a lot of, you know, I just saw like the standards and stuff were changing, and we just more things just kind of, you know, just becoming lax and let go within Christian culture. Instead of saying, you guys got to stop doing this, I was like, okay, well, let's just create a standard, and we'll put my standard up against your standard, and we'll rub them together. Whatever comes from that is ultimately your decision. So I just wanted to make an overtly worship album that pointed people to God and it challenged a lot of the gods of the day. And I hope that I did that.
Yeah. And I definitely think you did, because even just listening to it in my car, and I, you know, when I do album reviews, I have a little advantage because I have people in my car while I'm doing the album reviews in my car. So I have other people listening to the music that have no idea if a dude's Christian or secular. They don't even have a thought that when they get in the car, I might be listening to Christian hip hop, you know? And to hear people's reaction of it. And I've had a couple people blatantly say like, yo, is this Christian rap? And I'm like, yeah. And, you know, it's dope that comes out in the music, because there's a lot of music that you can't blatantly say that about, that is from a Christian artist. Not saying that's good or bad. It's just the fact that we do have some music right now that we can listen to from this album and say like, yo, he's talking about God the whole time on this project. And you mentioned not talking about Armond, like you talk about yourself and your issues and other projects. And I don't know if you've noticed, but this is something I've noticed the older I've gotten. The more whatever you talk about the most is going to be the biggest thing. So if you're talking about your problems the most, you're always going to have those problems on you, because you just keep talking about them. You keep breathing life into those problems. You can have those same problems if you just keep putting God first and lifting God's name above those problems. Guess what? Those problems might still be there, but they're not a big deal anymore.
Yep. You remove the power. You remove the power from them. 1,000%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think more people need to do that. We see on social media all the time. They're just dumping all over themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, what's the solution? And we hear it in the music, like we mentioned earlier. What's the solution to your issues? What's the solution to your depression? What's the solution to the things you're struggling with in life? You know? And if we don't keep talking about the solution, then we're never going to find the answer. We're just going to be walking around with a lot of zombie Christians walking around at these shows, walking around being leaders, unfortunately. You know, you guys as artists are leaders, whether you like it or not. If you're an artist, 100%. You are leading somebody. So what are you leading them to? Because you're leading them somewhere.
Absolutely. You can, I mean, even from a like logistical standpoint, rappers and preachers are the exact same thing. Being a minister at my church and learning how to put sermons together and learning how to build just your rapport as a preacher is the same thing as me listening to other artists and trying to formulate my style, or how I, you know, the way I prep sermons is the way that I write rhymes. It actually helped a lot with this album. It helped it be more linear. And like people you know, that's one thing that I'm going to do with this album is I'm not going to like give out all the juicy details, but one thing that we're going to do is we're going to engage this album in a different way.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to tour it in a traditional way. We're just in the process of engaging the people where they are with the music, because we're leaders and people are coming to us, and it's really a 3-minute sermon. Your song is a 3-minute sermon, and then you've got these people who have answers. Even in my case with this project, like, I've had people who are upset, who are mad and want to talk to me about, you know, what the project said to them or spoke to them, or what, you know, what Golden Calf had touched.
Yeah.
And great. So let's just engage them on a different level instead of just the music, which is fine. One way, because I have to be able to communicate this music in a different way besides bars. You'll see people, you can kind of tell, like, let me try and word this in a way, because I was going to say something and then I decided to stop. But you
say it, man. This is Speak Life Radio. You say it.
I know. I'm speaking life. I get it. But, like, you can just tell people who want to just rap and not really engage, and kind of, like, one thing that bothers me that I notice is, like, rappers get on social media and only interact with their fans when their album's about to come out.
Yeah, definitely.
And, like, that's so corny to me. Like, dude, like, these people are, as you said, they are looking to you for leadership, because they might not be going to a church right now. They might be dealing with some church hurt or whatever. And I've heard this a million times. Like, you are what I've been listening to help me get through this time. So if I can go a step further and actually talk to you, like, my DMs ain't full of, like, filth. My DMs are full of, like, people's problems and issues and people out to me and me returning the favor and giving it back to them, because I don't want this to be a gimmick. Like, I can't be not transparent. I can't be super transparent in my music and then be distant with you know, like, everything else. Like, that just doesn't go. Like, I have to be able to go there with those people. In fact, I'm going to school for social work. I work in social work right now, and I'm just learning that people want that. They want that engagement. They want to be noticed.
Definitely.
And something as small as noticing and listening to them, like, you have no idea what the Lord would do with that. It's amazing.
Yeah, and you don't know what the people, your fans that you're interacting with on social media, and more than fans. I mean, these are people that, like I said, God has you in leadership of in a certain way. And a lot of artists, I think they do look at their fans like dollar signs instead of people that they need to maybe help out, maybe even talk off the ledge, and stop them from maybe committing suicide or shooting up a school. You know. And that's one reason why why we get hit so hard. It's one of the reasons why the enemy hits us so hard, is because your ministry isn't just about you. Like, there are people who are attached to your life. And for artists, we don't even know every person. Like, if I'm a big fan of an artist, there's a good chance that I'll never speak to them, and I'll never be able to tell them, this is what you did for me. But if anybody else talks to me or knows me, I can tell you, hey, artist A put out this project and it got me through X, Y, and Z. So we don't know that impact. We just know it is art. And as you said, like, dollar signs and follower count and views and likes and all that stuff. But it's like, nah, man, those are souls, G. And those are people who are counting on you. And if you fall off, like, not to say that they're doomed, but, like, they're attached to you. Exactly.
You have a responsibility to that.
And I don't think we're saying that you know, for the listeners right now, we're not saying that these artists even know that they're consciously doing this. It's a struggle. It's a battle, flesh and blood. You know, we could go deep into it. But it's easy to get caught up in the numbers and into starting out with your heart full of ministry to do this music, and then you get caught up in the music business part of it, because, you know, it's an evil world out there with music business and getting caught up in the numbers and all that. And even going back to that song, God, lowercase G, I don't think we know when we have other gods in our lives. We don't know those are other gods. We have to consciously recognize that in our lives and realize, like, yo, I've put God, real God, capital G, to the side in place of lowercase g, God, that could be your job, your ministry, anything, your music, that relationship you have with somebody. Anything could become your God, and we don't know that it's our God until sometimes it's too late, and then we realize 2 years down the road, like, yo, I made something else my God, you know, and we're all guilty of that. So, you know, we're not blaming anyone, and I know you're not blaming anyone, because you even talk about yourself idolizing certain things.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't talk. You know, Jay said it. Can't talk about it if you ain't live it.
Yeah.
So, you know, you and I coming up in the 90s, Keep It Real was super heavy for us.
Yep.
Living What You Rap About, 3 6 Mafia, had an album called Live By Your Rap.
Yeah.
So, like, who you were had to be or what you did had to be an extension of who you were. And so why would we think that wouldn't apply? It applies even more now.
Definitely.
It's why the world can look at a Christian do something and say, you ain't supposed to be doing that.
Yeah.
You're a believer.
Yeah.
And they low-key be right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't even fault them for that, because you probably shouldn't be doing that. So, yeah, man, you live through it, and yes, I've 100% had gods in my life, and I've had people tell me that I'm, you know, again, nation, like you said, preaching to nations and all that stuff. You don't know what that, bro. You could say, my pastor said this a while back, and it blew my mind. He was like, yo, you can talk about going to the nations, and that could be like a small village in a third world country.
Yeah.
It's still when we think nations, we think of like, I'm going to Africa, I'm going to London, because the traditional view of the church is like it's so pristine and it's clean and all that stuff. And it's like, nah, bro, like ministry is dirty. Ministry is ugly. And so was God wrong when he said, go to the nations and you're in this little hut, witnessing and praying to, like, you know, for a family of 4? He flew you all the way out to pray for this one family.
Yeah. And
then they didn't even give their life to the Lord. Like, was that all of a sudden not God? Like, nah, bro. Like, we have to really change what we mean with these quote unquote. We have to stop making buzzwords out of ministry. So nations doesn't necessarily mean big; it just means another country.
Definitely, yeah, for real. And even that, you know, you want all these things from God, and you want full-time ministry and all this stuff. But you know, if you can't minister to the people around you, how are you going to go out there and go out into the whole world and minister to them? You know.
Exactly.
And I see that all the time, and everybody wants to be, going back to branding, even as pastors, everybody wants to be somebody. They want to be a brand, but how many of you are willing to really go out there and be the unknown pastor? Like Armond said, in a hut somewhere in a third world country that might only touch 10 people, you know? With no social media, without a camera following you, going live to show what great deeds you're doing for God.
Exactly. So that we had that discussion on. Actually, I've had a discussion with a few people about like the God's Plan video. Like, so yes, it's, and I don't have a full answer to that, but the question that I pose is like, all right, so when we put a camera on our good deeds, and you know, say you need $20, or say you hit me up and you're like, yo, Armond, I need some prayer, and then like, I pray for you, and then what I prayed for you about, or not even that it manifested. I prayed for you, and then I go on social media and say, "Yo, just pray for my homie Kwon." You know what I'm like, is that? I mean, is that not related to Matthew, where it says like those who like public square, they got their reward? Some people's retort to that would be that God, we are showcasing like ministry in order to inspire people to do the same, which could also be true, but it really depends like on like the heart behind what you're doing. If Drake's philanthropy points back to him, it can't be God's plan. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't have any other problem with it, but you called it God's plan, and clearly, like, you know what I'm saying, we get into all the theology and all that stuff, but like, so right. So us as believers, like, I don't like I tweeted this a couple of weeks ago, like, yo, don't put a camera on me while I'm worshiping in church.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Our marketing team at our church is phenomenal. My sister did, and I love you guys. Anytime, and I know that their heart is to just, it's a matter of social media presence. So I get it. It's not wrong, but it's not a, hey, look what we did. It's not. I know the heart behind it is different. But like when they're worshiping and I see the cameras come out, I duck out the way so quick.
Yeah.
Because there are pictures of me on social media. I was performing and like I fell out and it wasn't good. You know what I'm saying? And like, I don't want that out there because I had an intimate moment with God and somebody caught it on camera and thought to put it on the internet. Like, nah, like, don't do that. Don't do that to me, bro. Don't do that to me. But at the same, like, so are you cool with like doing an amazing thing and never getting quote unquote credit for it?
Yeah.
Where are you storing your treasure? It's important for us to check ourselves and figure that out for sure.
And it's harder in the day and age we live in with social media. There's pressure for us to do something and to be somebody and to get those likes and to be like, yo, everyone shares this person's post because they're doing something important. They're not sharing mine. So I have to at least act like I'm doing something important. I have to. Yes. My favorite profile pictures, which aren't really my favorite at all, it's reverse sarcasm, but my favorite profile pictures are the ones of somebody praying for somebody.
Yes.
It's like, why is that your profile picture? Like, that's cool that you're praying for somebody, but come on, bro. Like, it doesn't have to be your profile picture. We get it.
Yeah. We get it. You're praying. That's
exactly.
Great side, but it's okay.
Yeah. Because I could take a picture with coffee and a Bible and a highlighter, and I could have not read that Bible at all for a week.
Absolutely.
But I look hella spiritual now because I got that picture up. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you're such a great man of God. It's like, am I? You should have saw what I was doing last night before I posted this picture.
Exactly. 100%. You want it, bro.
Yeah. So, man, dude, even if I lose, make sure you guys go get the album, Armond Wake Up. It's everywhere. Let them know where they can find you, bro.
Armond Wake Up, ARMOND Wake Up, all one word. I am on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud, and Spotify, and encourage people to follow everywhere because I post different content to different spaces.
Yeah.
And I like to reward people for seeking me elsewhere. For example, there was a 40 Days commentary only on Spotify, and there are videos of me performing that are only on YouTube, nowhere else.
Nice.
So, Armond Wake Up, ARMOND Wake Up, all one word.
And real quick, man, before I let you go, what's it like actually being on a label now? I think the last time we talked was actually you signing to Elect.
Yeah, you got the exclusive.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's challenging because I've been, I come up on the greats when it comes to independent, independent hip hop. So I studied E40 and Sick With It. I studied JT the Bigger Figure. I studied Rap a Lot. I studied No Limit. I studied Cash Money. I studied those guys. Too Short, those artists who were selling CDs literally out the trunk.
Yep.
And from the time I was 15 years old, that was my blueprint. So going from that to an ecosystem where you have to be mindful of other people's workloads, mindful of the schedule, where I just can't come out and say, I want to put something out tomorrow. And Elect has been super, super gracious and courteous in, me kind of pushing the issue and saying, we need to get this out now.
Yeah.
And they'll fit into their schedule. And I super appreciate that. But I can't just run around and run amok like I'm so used to doing and just put it out when it's time to come out. That has taught me a patience that like I can't even understand and that I'm grateful for. But at the same time, like, I really wish, some days I really wish that this album would have came out 4 months ago or 5 months ago when it was supposed to.
Yeah.
But, I'm grateful that it came out now and that basically we can get the ball rolling into a lot of, because I feel like Elect is going to get me into a lot of different spaces that I otherwise couldn't get as an independent artist.
Definitely.
Yeah. And, I'm excited to see that fruit. So, yeah, man, it's been really, really good it's been really good for me.
Yeah.
More than my music career. It's been good for me to slow down and be mindful of other people. It's been a good lesson to learn.
That's good. Do you have videos coming out for this project?
Absolutely. We're actually shooting a video tomorrow. I just want to thank everybody who supported the album with 1 week's notice, because we didn't do a super big build up to the album. We put out the album. We didn't put out any videos, no singles leaked. Like, we just said, hey, the album comes out next week. We dropped it on a Tuesday instead of a Friday, and people really, really showed out and showed love. So what we're going to do is we're going to put all the content out in the back end. We've got a lot of things planned that will extend the life of this project throughout 2018. So you definitely will see some visuals and some different types of visuals, not just music videos, but you will see my face and hear my voice, and we will unpack this project for sure. So
why'd you drop it on a Tuesday? I know that's the old day to drop music, but Friday has been the new day the last 3 or 4 years. Why'd you guys choose Tuesday?
You know, I thought about it from the perspective of an artist and a consumer. As a consumer, and as somebody, like, I have my podcast, Clock Radio Speakers, and like, when it was cool when the album would come out on Tuesday and we would record on Tuesday because they get me, or record on Thursday because that would give me like a little bit of time to really sit with the project. Yeah. And I think just dropping it during the week just gives you more time to focus on the project. I think Friday drops are trash because on Fridays I'm not thinking about music, I'm thinking about the weekend. Exactly. And I the weekend, because my weeks are so like rigid. The weekends are my time to get away. The weekends are my time to fulfill other duties and all the different roles and my responsibilities. Yeah. So by the time Monday comes back around, I forgot about your album. I don't remember. Yeah, it's real. So Tuesday, and then, you know, again, just like, I just loved the Tuesday drop and Friday's trash. And I knew that, you know, nobody was going to be around on, I knew nobody was going to be around in the middle of the week. Yeah. You know, Jonathan Baker, my man JB, dropped the day after me. And then here we go on a Friday. You know, Fonte, who's one of my favorite rappers ever, dropped a project. Yeah. Jay-Z and Beyonce came out with a single. A bunch of other Tory Lanez, I think. A bunch of people just came out with music. And so I would have been fighting for that space if I would have dropped it on Friday. So for me, it just made sense to go back to the Tuesday. And it seems to have worked because people really appreciate and enjoy that.
Yeah. And Flame dropped today also. So you would have been competing with that.
Today. Yep. Shout out to Flame, man. Really, really, really nice guy when I met him a few years ago. Yeah. Super nice. And he's from St. Louis, so he's from the town. So
yes, sir. And he's still doing it, man. It's good to see, you know, cats still doing it and staying up on their game so long. All right, before we let you go, man, some questions. Top 5 mumble rappers, go.
OJ the Juice Man is my GOAT mumble rapper, even though he didn't mumble. Anybody else is a son of his.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yo, if you had to bail one of these girls out, both of these girls call you at the same time, you only got enough money to bail one of them out. Who are you bailing out? Sasha Banks or Prime Hillary Banks?
Ooh, you're trash.
Hey, Prime, in their prime.
I'm going with Prime Hillary Banks because Sasha sometimes from different camera angles isn't as cute as she is. Like, but Prime Hillary is amazing. So I'm Hillary Banks.
There we go. Yo, Armond, I appreciate it, dog. And we'll definitely, you know, be in contact more. Make sure we get the videos, you know, when you drop them and everything. And we'll definitely help promote this project. And, man, I appreciate everything you're doing, man. I really do appreciate this album. It's a breath of fresh air with everything, with everybody copying what they hear on the radio, all the trends. We live in a very trendy world right now, so it's good to hear something that kind of goes against the grain.
Yeah, man. No doubt, man. I appreciate you for having me, and I appreciate your support over the years, man. Anything I can do to help out Guerilla Cross, like, I'm always in there 100%.
For sure, man. I appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to jump into the song God off Even If I Lose right now from Armond Wake Up right here on Guerilla Cross Speak Live Radio, New Music Friday. Check it out. Stay locked in.
I need God to be the God of my God complex. Need God to be the difference when I'm not my best. Please, God, be God when I make God of my stress. even when God is not my yes. They say I don't go to church anymore. It's a farce. I see them play the part. They ain't conveying the heart. Say they playing it smart. They woke and we deceive. We shouting over things that we don't really believe. They say thank God cause he keep on blessing you. But I learned the devil can give out blessings too. What makes it a blessing? Because it's best for you or whoever you got the blessing through. They say Europeans used Christianity to trap us, but Christianity was in Africa when they captured us, way before we were put in chains. So who's really the slave? Why are we obsessed with celebrities finding Jesus? Why aren't we as enthused for our neighbors across the street? Why are we so concerned with who sees us? Seems we focus on the elite more than the meek. Why is God only God twice a week? Hardly in our hearts, we rather him at our feet. I'll no longer use my humanity as excuse, but rather my humanity's reason that I need truth. We made God out of man, made gods of our hands, turned God to a brand, and made gods of our brands, made God out of voids, made gods of our choices. We've made God out of man, made gods of our hands, turned God to a brand, and made gods of our brands, made God out of voids, made gods of our choices. And it's so easy to speak the truth in a room where everyone believes the same things as you. Said it's so easy to speak the truth in a room where everyone believes the same. I need God to be the God of my God complex. Need God to be the difference when I'm not my best. Please God, be God when I make God of my stress. Even when God is not my yes. We've made God out of man, made gods of our hands, turned God to a brand, and made gods of our brands, made God out of voids, made gods of our choices. We've made God out of man, made gods of our hands, turned God to a brand, and made gods of our brands, made God out of voids, made gods of our choices. And it's so easy to speak the truth in a room where everyone believes the same things as you. Said it's so easy to speak the truth in a room where everyone believes the same things as you.
Yo, that's God off Even If I Lose by Armond WakeUp. If you guys missed the interview, make sure you check out the replay and download the podcast. Podcast is on iTunes, Google Play. If you download the Guerilla Cross app, it'll be right there as well. So make sure you check it out. Download the app. It's free. So get that. This is another one off Even If I Lose. So help me God.
All
right here. Armond WakeUp.
Jesus, could you minister for a minute, sir? The image of your finished work is a blur. Spending time self-absorbed, self-important. Ye are gods out of context, myself is Lord. But if Jesus gives us freedom, then myself's the cord. To wage war against everything that I settle for. Never had something that didn't leave or forsake me. So when you say it and I hear it, I debate it. Your faithfulness is amazing or a maybe to me. But get mad when I negate it. I am crazy. I went to therapy to understand the error in me. Needed to vent to see the error in me. Apparently my issues with bitterness stem from abandonment. How do you abandon it? Feels better to pander to it. Feelings, they're so stupid. Cause feelings don't know your future, but they freeze me. And I know fear is beneath me. Every day I pray for help and scream, God, do you see me? If there's nothing too hard for you, then none of this should startle you. Wave of your hand could break the bond in two. And honestly, it seems as if I bother you with the same things every couple of months. My growth's a little stunning, and I wouldn't be surprised if when we finally meet, that you tell me to depart from you. Who am I at all to you? I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. So help me God. So help me God. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. 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 Talking to God without losing man. Growing up, your father's the first Superman. Until you feel his shoes become apparent, and you staring in the eyes of the kryptonite you inherited. Your mother's the first example of nurturing, emotional nourishment, encouragement, assertiveness. Now you in your 30s and you don't know how to give, and because she never got it, you never learned how to get it. So as you get older, women become trophies, a status symbol that holds the beam. It's so deceiving. Everyone I'm on top of becomes a mantra. I ain't looking for a partner, I'm still searching for my mama. So all I ever hear is how much I have to offer, but my brokenness runs on like a comma. I'm a liar that tends to hang with women that massage my misogynism. Sing I surrender all, but regulate God the minutes. Oh God, this self-loathing is pitiful. Chasing after you to get rid of you. Can't admit to you I be wanting to quit. Filled with memories I wish I could forget. I can't repent, the stench is too strong for my arms to raise. Life is hard to manage within this hardy race, but you say that my helplessness ain't a detriment. Rather it's evidence you left your prints. All that the devil sent you was next to it, but I don't know. Is it okay to tell you I don't know? That there is just enough inside my soul to know that you are real, but not real to me. And you revealed the voids, but still ain't filled the seams. That's why I get mad when I hear about dreams and things, when living for you makes it hard to breathe. Maybe this is a storm, maybe this is a thorn. I love you, but I'm torn. And I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. So help me God. So help me God. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Yeah. So help me God. So help me God.
Yeah, that's Armond Wake Up, So Help Me God, off Even If I Lose. Make sure you go get that album right now. It's everywhere. Buy it. Don't just stream it, buy it. But if you can't afford it, go ahead and stream it. But support the artist by buying their music. Yeah. And if you missed last week's episode, I had a really dope conversation with my man KJ52. So download the Guerilla Cross app. You can watch that right now. It's up on there. And if you're into sports, we have a sports show twice a week, Unnamed Sports Show, every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 p.m. West Coast time. We just talk about sports. We interviewed Dunker from Dunk Kings last night, so check that out. And yeah, we're going to close this show out. Follow us at Guerilla Cross on all social media. Follow me at Kwon Five-Nine. And thank you all for tuning in. This is KJ52, All I Have, featuring Dayton, off Jonah Part 2 right here. Guerilla Cross, Speak Life Radio, New Music Friday. We'll catch you guys next week.
Still I stand behind the bars, kinda like I go to prison. I got a vision, I listen, my savior gonna risen. My God is still upon the throne when you wanna diss him. The old me is dead and gone, I ain't gonna miss him. My God had to subtract, just like it's long division. Yeah, they still think I'm kinda odd. Part-time rapper, I'm a full-time man of God. You see the rock that I'm standing on, all you ever see is the green like it's camouflage. I got a team and we standing strong. One hand I owe, another hand of God. Been through it all, I ain't planning to fall. Plus he guides my every move, like the dude in Avatar. And all I had was Jesus and the family. Yeah. All I had was Jesus and the family. Yeah. All I had was Jesus and the family. Y'all ain't understand me, I ain't had a plan B. And all I had was Jesus and the family. Yeah. All I had was Jesus and the family. Yeah. All I had is Jesus and the family. I ain't got a plan B now. They say that God is in the details. I say that God is taking 3 nails. Paid it all upon the cross when he prevailed. When the devil had me lying down, but he failed. What you see here, I'm just an eyewitness. So I'm running back to him like the line of scrimmage. You can't tell me now that I'm finished. But you missed the bars, kinda like a blind gymnast. Blind gymnast, man, you can't see. I rock it tighter than your pants be. So if I'm silent and I can't speak, I be speaking all up in my ears like a hands-free. You can slam me, ban me, all I ever got was this. Never had a plan B. I got no limits to his plans B. All I ever had, that was Jesus and the family.
God in this life is my squad and the mic that I use to speak into the darkness when I call him the light. I got the Holy Spirit, my heavenly Father in Christ that I serve with all of my might. And I follow despite the persecution, this promise. They say this calling's a plight. But in my past, I wasn't scared of a brawl or a fight. Why would that change? Especially now when God has been right there beside me fighting my battles. Demons fall at the sight of my king. He stands taller than Godzilla stands, so I'm safe. I feel like Ann in King Kong's gorilla hands. Who lied to Satan and told him that there's still a chance? It is written only the army of God will advance. A plan B would just be man-made, so I'm banking on plan A. You know I can't sway. In the face of death, I worship with my hands raised. I will give it all for Jesus and my family.
And all I had was Jesus and the family. All I had was Jesus and the family. All I had was Jesus and the family. Y'all ain't understand me, I ain't had a plan B. And all I had was Jesus and the family. All I had was Jesus and the family. All I had is Jesus and the family. I ain't got a plan B now. All I had was Jesus and the family. All I had was Jesus and the family. All I had was Jesus and the family. Y'all ain't understand me, I ain't had a plan B. And all I had was Jesus and the family. All I had was Jesus and the family. All I had was Jesus and the family. Y'all ain't understand me, I ain't had a plan B.
Yo, you tuned in to Guerilla Cross Radio.